Marcus Antonius Jansen was born 1968 in Manhattan, New York. For Jansen, rewriting history, or at least re-examining it through his personal lens, is central to his artistic practice. He understands that history is written by the victors, and that valid dialogue in art history requires multiple perspectives, especially those of Black and brown voices, who have often been excluded in the discourse of art history. His subject matter is deeply rooted in formative experiences in both his native Bronx, New York, and Mönchengladbach Germany, where he grappled with social upheaval and racism, as well as his world travels in his youth. Growing up in the racial and economic paradoxes in both countries, Jansen absorbed impressions that remain hallmarks of his expressionist style, bridging two worlds with empathy and irony. Graffiti writing, which he discovered as a teenager, taught him to distort and deconstruct traditional paradigms while imagining new ones. His paintings function as autobiographical, social, political, and economic commentaries, tackling themes such as urban gentrification, racial injustice, colonialism, capitalism, economic inequality, and psychological warfare. Through his work, history, iconography, and social mores collide. Born to a Jamaican mother and later raised by a German father who was a businessman and historian, Jansen spent his early years in Bronx and Laurelton, Queens, New York, in largely Caribbean, divided by immigrant communities. His first exposure to the art world came when a lion he painted in elementary school was exhibited at Lever House in Manhattan at age 6. The family relocated to Germany. There, in a post-war Germany, Jansen attended an all-German school, where he was the only child of color. The racism and harassment he endured contributed to his independent character, and later became fuel for his art. Returning to the Bronx in 1982, at the height of the hip-hop movement, Jansen was swept into the energy of graffiti culture. He later made contact with pioneer graffiti writer West, and in 1987, Jansen was introduced to the Dutch-born Viva TV Club rotation host and musician Daisy D, who became Jansen's biggest supporter in Germany. With a bifocal vision of a crack-ridden New York and a relatively orderly German culture, Jansen began probing the forces of disharmony shaping the US. His paintings often feature faceless figures in urban landscapes, men in business suits, colonialist archetypes, and other characters that shift with global events. His aerial perspectives, meanwhile, were shaped by his experiences in the US Army, where he was stationed in Germany, South Korea, and the Middle East during the First Gulf War at just 21. After confronting the realities of surveillance, violence, and the military-industrial complex, Jansen was hospitalized at Walter Reed in Washington, D.C., where he was diagnosed with PTSD. Art therapy became his outlet, and ultimately, his calling. He began modestly, painting sun rays on cardboard to sell on street corners, with the name MEPS. Today, Jansen works on monumental canvases, using house paint, acrylics, and oil stick. Jansen has pioneered a raw, concentrated sense of immediacy in his socially critical and politically charged protest landscapes. Jansen's first defiant works that began to surface in his military barracks, he stayed in 1996, while stationed in Vilseck, Germany. Art historian Manfred Schneckenberger has referred to Jansen as one of the most important American painters of his generation.